We have some social media questions. Cody Joe Brown on Facebook. Has it gotten harder to create material in the PC environment? Or is that actually an invitation to provoke the audience?
That's a great question. Yeah. I think that you just need to be fully conscious of how you're being provocative, you know? I think that what people are asking for is, yeah, sometimes too much. I think that the liberal side can almost become conservative at times, and we're losing a sense of nuance and looking at words too much rather than intention. But it's all hard, but you gotta do it. You have to be provocative. You gotta push people forward. And I haven't gotten in trouble for anything that I've said or done, but I'd like to think that I'm on the right side.
Would you ever do stand-up?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of like building an hour right now. I'm gonna start building an hour.
Provocative there all your life.
Exactly, you know, but know what I'm talking about. And I think a lot of comedians, they get in trouble because it's like, well, you should have written another draft on that, maybe.
Your Can audience on Twitter. How do you know when you've figured out the inner jerkiness of a character? Do you nuance that scene in front of a mirror until you want to punch the guy? Interesting. Well, these are good questions.
Yeah, well, I just lived my life. And then, that jerkiness comes out pretty easily. No, I'm lucky to act a lot of great writing. And so you nail it down to what is like fueling this character. Is it self-hatred? Is it desperation? Is it loneliness? And you really lean into that. And then you have your innate comic sense. Or you dive into the emotional life of what's happening and the psychological, turmoil that the character's in. And then that helps you find it. And a lot of the times it helps you find it different every time. I don't think there's a finding it. I think shooting, even if you have specific blocking, specific lines, shooting is still rehearsal,
Yeah.
And then they build the performance in the edit room.
Jean-Francois Brisson on Facebook. How did you make the role of a conspiracy terrorist on Stranger Things your own? How do you prep?
How did I prep? I read conspiracy things, and, watching the news can really fuel you up to, in the way that this character, I think, was fueled up by where he came from. I see him very much as a product of the 60s, if he's in his 40s in 1985, he was definitely present during everything that was going on in the late 60s and early 70s. If you look around the bunker, the art direction, the incredible art directors on the show, you have things like, you have R. Crumb comics and you have anti-Nixon posters and things like that. So like that, it reflects now. So like reading what's happening now would fuel that. And then also just like the archetype of the character and that he is this comedic guy. I mean, I went up to the Duffers and I was like, this guy's the Richard Dreyfuss of the show. He's like Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws, but in this show, but with more of an edge and grouchiness towards other people.
Jim Hewitt on the Larry King Now blog. If you had to describe your brand of comedy, what would it be?
Probably the comedy of discomfort. But fun. Making discomfort fun. Discomfort for the kids.
Jenny McLaren on the Larry King Now blog. I loved you in Fleabag. What did you think when you first read the script for your character, Martin? How did you meet Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
It was really random. I got a call on a Tuesday from an Amazon executive, and he was like, hey, we got this show. We've shot the pilot, and we have the scripts of the whole series. We're going to send it to you. We'd love you to play this character. But if you could let us know soon, because your first day of shooting is Tuesday. So I had to go to London for a month, like in a few days' notice. And then I met Phoebe my first day of shooting. Her and Harry Bradbeer, the director, came into the trailer and they were like, how do you see this character? And I was like, I see him this way. And they're like, that's how we see him, so that's great. And I thought he was a sympathetic character. I did not see him as such a villain. You know, I think if there is one villain on the show, it's Olivia Colman's character, because she truly has no reason to be mean in the way that she is, whereas my character's in hell.
Never miss a beat. Subscribe to Larry King now and watch new episodes every day.